Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carlmark, and I want to give you a quick weather update for this series of storms that really is going to impact the entire state. Now, going back to the middle of January, January's been okay, honestly, way better than December as far as snow in the state. And this is what it looked like when we had nice low snow levels. Everything was blanketed in some fresh snow, even the southern Sierra, which has struggled a little bit so far this season, which was blockbuster last season. You know, every year is different. So things are looking pretty good. The other things that I look for in the middle of winter, of signs being that things are healthy and moving along and doing what they're supposed to. Nice green grass, river outflows, so you can see some of the murky water. That means everything is sort of working together. However, what you also may notice is that that's just one image. And one of the struggles of this season, at least early in the season, is that we had big wet storms, and for rain in the bucket, we're actually doing just fine. It's that some of these storms came in with a lot of warm air, and that means that the snow levels were higher, and that's why we're struggling a little bit with the snowpack. So what would fix that? Well, we need some cold air, and we need more storms. Well, going out this week and well into next week, what pattern are we looking at? Cooler than normal, okay, that's half of it, and wetter than normal. Okay, so we're there. Now, in the near term, the actual real predictions here, you want to look for bigger storms that are called atmospheric rivers. Now, this, in the weather world, this has been a term for a very long time, but it's now basically a formalized way of describing to everybody, because you've heard of it by now, these types of storms that have big areas of low pressure in the Pacific, and they tap into much wetter air that goes all the way down to the south. Now, we call this subtropical air, but what you're really looking at is if it mixes in with some cold air, it might be a little bit of rain in the mountains in the very beginning, the first few hours, but then when you throw in cold air, they end cold and you are looking at some solid snow. Well, this first round, which is going to be Wednesday to Thursday, as we cross over into the first day of February, this one's nice. Plenty of rain in far northern California with some snow mixed in as well. It's going to be solid for snow, and southern California as well. And then the next one coming in is a little bit more centered to the south, which means there's actually colder air still in place for northern California and just enough to continue the snow in southern California as well. So basically, with the 1-2 punch and stuff going past that, with some weaker storms, so less moisture but still cold, I think our snowpack situation is going to be dramatically improved. Let me give you an example. We split this up into 3 major areas for the northern, central, southern Sierra for snowpack, all well below average. Statewide, it's about half of where we should be. But when you start throwing in 2 big colder storms, you're really going to see those numbers come up. I don't know if we'll get to average, but we're certainly going to be better than where we are within the next week or two. The Central Sierra Snow Lab right at Donner Summit, run by UC Berkeley, it's been there for a long time, but this is one of the stats on their main page that I think really tells the story. As far as percent of average precipitation, rain and snow, in other words, liquid, they're at 74% of average. But when you look at the snowfall, it's only 58%. So what's going on here? Why the mismatch? Well, if it's falling as rain rather than snow, that is the gap, and that's what we've seen. So we need colder air, and guess what we have? Colder air. Snow levels in the very beginning, 6,000 to 7,000 feet or somewhere in between, and then quickly overnight, as it pulls in that cold air, the snow level drops to a more traditional 5,000 feet. 6,000 feet is lake level for Lake Tahoe, which is an important local landmark that everyone sort of understands where this is. So it's going to be a little bit below that. And then Friday through Saturday, it even at times goes a little bit below that. So the bottom line is this. We're looking at heavy snow. Instead of just rain or rain with some snow at the end, I think it's going to be fairly heavy right from the get-go. Now, these are images from earlier on Wednesday with a healthy-looking storm, plenty of moisture getting pulled in, a lot more on tap, and it moves. As it moves, it spreads out more of the moisture for more of the state. So this is really going to be focused throughout all the regions of California when you really start adding up Storm 1 and certainly Storm 2. So what we have from the Weather Service is something called a winter storm warning. It begins earlier in the day on Wednesday, goes all the way till Saturday morning. This is for winter conditions. So we're talking heavy snow, low visibility, strong winds, slick roads, bad driving, potential for power outages. In other words, what you think of, gosh, this is a huge winter storm, that's what we're talking about here. And this is the highest level that they issue. So this goes for many days. The rain is mostly Wednesday and a little bit on and off showery type stuff for the valley areas on Thursday, but the snow is fairly consistent. And remember, going back to the struggles of earlier in the season, deep down in the snowpack, they have what they call a persistent weak layer. That's where basically the snow shut off for a while. there was a freeze-thaw cycle, and it made the surface level of the snow have a different type of texture. So anything falling on top of it can be compromised with big, heavy snowfall because of it's on that weak layer. Now, over time, those weak layers start to consolidate, and the nature of the structure of it does change, or it can at least. So we're watching for that. But at least people that study avalanches and look for that sort of thing, they are well aware of that and talk about it in all their discussions. So keep that in mind. With heavy snow comes lots of great skiing and snowboarding and playing in the snow, but also going in the back country at least, there is that threat. So let's fast forward here through the next couple of events. We've got the one which peaks on Wednesday for rain and snow. Again, notice it struggles a little bit, but then it goes all blue here, so we're not really worried about the snow. We're going to end up with a couple feet of snow for the resorts, no problem. And then it's consistently just lingering around through at least Saturday morning. Then we get a break Saturday afternoon and very early on Sunday. Sunday evening, much wetter storm. This is for rain and for snow, and it's cold the whole time, so that will help. You add in both, folks, and we're really looking at a much better snow situation for the state. With that said, I'm going to back it up just to the early one. The timing for the incoming snow with this very first round is going to be today, which is Wednesday, and it goes all the way till early Saturday. At least that's how long the winter storm warning goes till. I'm thinking at least 1 to 2 feet at the pass level. We're going to get less than that, obviously, the lower you go. And for the resorts, where there's a lot of resort terrain above 7,000 feet, we're probably pushing 2-3 feet probably by the end of this. The snow levels do drop from roughly 6,000-ish feet down to 3,000 feet. And remember, it's not just the snow totals and the snow level. What else is going on during the storm? Well, in the mountains, you're going to have strong wind, which means low visibility and the possibility always of, I think, well, definite chain controls, but maybe momentary road closures. If people can't see, they'll close the road. If there's a crash where they need to stop traffic for safety to extract, say, a truck or a passenger vehicle or something like that, or there's just a bunch of cars that are having collisions all at once, they do close the road in conditions where it's snowing hard and you can't see, or there's a safety concern. So momentary road closures in the mountains are certainly possible with an event like this. Remember, this is round one. More snow is certainly possible going into next week.